I would just like to speak very briefly about the children, and specifically the children under the age of 5 who were separated from their parents. We know that as of Tuesday it was demanded that they be returned, the children under 5 be returned to their parents. That deadline was missed by the Trump government. Only 38 out of 102 children under the age of 5 were returned to their families. Now, the Secretary of Health in the White House said that even that was a great act of American generosity. We know that by July 26th, this is the deadline for all 3,000 of the separated children, whether under the age of 5 or above, to be returned to their families. The courts have demanded this of the Trump government. It is absolutely vital that we keep their feet to the fire and say that those 3,000 children need to be reunited, not on the 26th of July, but right now. Trump was able to depict himself as an anti-hero. But in actuality, when we look at the policies, we see that he has intensified neoliberalism, deregulating the fossil fuel industry, continuing the US government policy of subsidizing fossil fuel companies to the tune of $700 billion per year. Fossil fuel companies are driving us closer and closer to a dangerous apocalypse. That is not just my opinion. That's something the scientists at NASA and even the scientists at ExxonMobil admit. 97% of climate scientists are in absolute agreement and consensus that fossil fuels are driving us closer to the point of no return. We see Trump ramping up the call for war in Venezuela, in Iran. We see Trump ramping up the homegrown insurgencies and pogrom-like ways of thinking towards immigrants, towards Muslims. Trump went as far as saying that our ancestors, quote unquote, tamed a continent. He went as far as saying that the people that they were deporting were animals. Well, we have something to say today to you, Donald Trump. London, in all of its beauty, in all of its diversity, in all of its hybridity, has tamed you, you wretched pig of a man. When they turn to us and say, we need the United States for Brexit, there are, by some estimates, 104 US military installations in this country. That's not the relationship of equals, that's the relationship of servant and master. When they say he's here to help us, we know what the truth is. He's not here to help us, he's here to take our NHS. We stand against the economic terrorism of austerity. We stand against the social terrorism of deregulation. Donald Trump represents the most grotesque face of corporate irresponsibility. So if you won't mind, we're going to give you a song. If I can just check if the piano's working, we're going to give you a song. The song is entitled McDonald Trump, and please welcome to the stage the amazing Kaia and our pianist Karim on my left. Let's go, Kaia.
Oh,
vencido. 700 billion a year to the fossil fuel of 750 billion a year to the rocket launchers. This monster's morbid, sordid, more than what's reported. While this song's recorded, over 100 humans cross the borders. Words of MLK, greatest violence that purvey us. See ourselves in the afflicted, the environment decay. Do it for Puerto Rico and Ibrahim Abu Thureya. He'll get ahead to meet me while he's tweeting London's mayor. Harbingers of doom, they let the Trump committee gallivant. Passport not accepted, it's a London city travel ban. Dystopian future like Amazon's camper vans. Nearly an apprentice to the corporate gangster glamour gang. Cause Exxon Mobil are writing this Trump script. The Koch brothers are writing this Trump shit. Wall Street is writing this Trump script. Raytheon and Lowkey are writing this Trump shit. That red face can't contain the rage and hate inside ya. Aching in your pride, but take a major nation, make it minor. Engage in nativism when your state is just a paper tiger. Cover up your face with a solar panel made in China. Weapon of mass distraction in this twisted ancient decadence. Government, big business, the relationship incestuous. What workers in your businesses unionize and shut you down. A million people marched when you tried to enter London town. Do another speech to inspire the next militant. May your nightmares be haunted by vexed immigrants, mother of all bombs. I hope that every death lives within corporate revolving door. From Bannon to Rex Tillerson, Exxon Mobil writing this Trump shit. The street is writing this Trump shit. Wall Street is writing this Trump script. Raytheon and Lowkey, they're writing this Trump shit. Shut them down. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. It's a capistocracy that acts illogically. Gangsters and bankers kidnap your policies. Grand hypocrisy, expand the poverty. This man's philosophy is rampant robbery. Left Puerto Rico abandoned on its knees. Massive horror scenes, no plans for college teams. Onslaught, he wants more handguns on the street to ban democracy and crash economies. Fake news in the flesh, greater using the press. Ruminate who to hate when you accumulate debt. The food chain stretch from your goons that invest. Desecrate the state and unusual death. Wanna idolize sly guys, who would you guess? Surprise, hope they privatize his funeral next. Lucid effect on who you choose to elect. When expansion is limitless, what future is left? The system was fixed for him, sicker than Nixon with Clinton. Winston and Kissinger mixed with him, missiles are blistering pistols on kids, and he spits on the immigrants. Isn't it interesting? Deport Trump and his forked tongue, let them all come. President, there's never been a president that's more dumb. Slave to the bankers, slave to the gun lobby. Permanent war, always demonize somebody. Families broke up, sanity closed shut. How can it be this man receives a salary to show up? Private jet nervous, disturbing with turbulence. Merging with mercenaries, working to murder us. Hurting the earth and our urges to nurture it. We are ruled by the worst of 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 them. Thank you very much.